Coming up right after the break, we have another Gabbie and Gabe segment for you, but this time we're whipping up something super sweet. Literally, look at that blender. Was that a blender? No, a KitchenAid. My goodness. We'll show you some Christmas cookie tips when we come back.
You are watching WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
Yes, season's eatings to you, as we like to say around here, right? Christmas cookies, I think a staple of the holiday.
Traditions.
Yeah, of course, you know, everyone's got their recipe. In fact, what we're going to be making here is my mom's recipe, but everyone's got their own, and so to each your own.
Yes.
Understandably
but if you don't have one, you know, if you're wanting to bake, it's a great way to, you know, you can take this recipe.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy, or you could just completely take the guesswork out of it and just go buy the stuff from the store, the pre-made dough, and do what we're about to do. But for those of you that might be interested in trying something new, this is a really easy recipe I've inherited from my own mother. She makes these holiday cookies all the time. So I've got all the ingredients here. We'll run them down on the side of the screen so you get an idea of what all is involved. First off, we're going to start off with a mixer. You don't necessarily need a stand mixer to do it. You can use whatever you've got around the house. But the recipe calls for about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Yes, this is going to be a very sugary and sweet treat. So we're going to add the powdered sugar in here.
While you do that, I have a question. How long does all of this take, including baking, just so people, you know, can kind of have a gauge for?
I would say a good hour just to do all this. And this will include cutting out the cookie shapes as well, getting that all done. In terms of the preparation, there is a step in here which we'll talk about where you are going to have to let the dough rest, and that does take a couple hours. But when it comes to actually putting all of this together, baking, about an hour is a good time frame for all of this. So 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. You're then going to add a cup of margarine. So those of you who have 2 sticks of margarine or butter, guess what? You're in luck, because that equals a cup. So we're going to add that in there as well. An egg goes in next. Preferably a chicken egg. I don't know if you want to do quail eggs or whatever. I don't think they're...
room temperature?
Yes, you want that to be room temperature because it does mix a lot easier.
Same with the butter, right?
Yes. Next, we're going to add the rest of the wet ingredients. So that's going to include a teaspoon of almond extract and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'll tell you, just smell this. Like, I mean, it's amazing. I would wear it as cologne, but I'm afraid I'd get eaten in public.
You could probably do like peppermint too if you want, right?
Oh yeah, and everyone of course has their own recipe.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, to each your own, and it's going to be delicious either way. But in my case, this is what I love year after year. Very simple, very easy. I'm going to start the mixer here just on the lowest setting and get these things kind of in and mixing around. From here, I'm going to add some more of the dry ingredients to the mix. It also calls for 2.5 cups of just regular all-purpose flour.
And this is a step you want to do slowly.
Yes, especially as we were running through this yesterday at our house. I made kind of a mess.
Yeah, so, that's okay. I mean, that's part of the fun.
It is, but having to clean off the front of the dishwasher because you spilled flour all over the place,
not fun.
Not as fun as I discovered. Next, we're going to add a teaspoon, and a lot of these this is great because they come in teaspoon quantities. About a teaspoon of cream of tartar. That's going to go in, and also a teaspoon of baking soda. That's going to help bring everything together. So while that's mixing, of course, we're limited here in our television time. You're going to mix this all together. You're going to let it sit for about 2 hours, and that makes the dough a little easier to actually put together and roll out. So I'll mix the rest of that up later. This is some stuff we've prepared earlier, wouldn't you know it?
Magic
and
of TV.
Notice I've actually rolled this out not only on a cookie sheet, but on a piece of wax paper. And the reason being, if you're one of those perfectionists that likes your cookies to look just perfect and you're terrible with the spatula, this helps you a long way. So we're just gonna take some of these cookie cutters that we have here. I'll angle this over here so our pie camera can pick this out here too. And what you want to do is press these, but give them a little bit of distance away from each other. And I'll tell you how this comes into play. Basically what we're going to do is pull these out and then pull out the surrounding dough. That can be used later. And then when you're done, you're going to take this wax paper, transfer it over to a piece of parchment paper and bake that. You're going to want to bake it for 375 for about 8 to 10 minutes till they're golden brown. If you want them softer, do them a little less.
And then they look like this.
And then they look like that at the very end of the day. So yeah, I like them. They're super easy. Let them cool too. I think really before we get to the next step, which is going to be decorating, and then Gabbie, I'll tell you what, when it
Yes.
comes to decorating,
That's my favorite part.
it is, and you do such a great job.
Thanks. I'm a sucker for icing. I love icing, and decorating was a big part of what we did growing up. And so, it does look like a little kid decorated these, but that's okay because
We're all kids at heart.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, super easy. This is where you get the kids involved. I mean, the kids can help with that as well, but this is where things can get messy. I just got all different kinds of icing. Keep it simple if you want. You can go extravagant, however you want to do, but just slap it on there. Again, as I said, I'm a big icing person, so
Yes.
I put a lot of icing on there, but you can just throw the icing on there,
You have
decorate
sugar
it how you
goals
want.
to meet, correct? There you go.
Yes. And you can get these at like any store.
I love those.
Bunch of different
Yeah.
sprinkles. So I'm just gonna plop those on there.
It does. It makes it a lot easier when it comes to actually, decorating the cookies.
And
don't have
there
to
you
do a lot of
go.
guesswork. That's not bad. So we're gonna get to eat some of these now,
Yes.
right? Okay. Now, which one do you recommend? You know what? Forget it. I'll just do the tree. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm a traditionalist.
I'm gonna do the star,
Looks
the
like you
pink
got some
star.
chocolate frosting on this too. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And again, Kristen Crawford, she's our Kate Fair Weekend producer.
Yes.
She did a story on sugar cookies yesterday, so that's online. And there you go.
Oh, these look good. I may not be able to talk the rest of the way when it comes to the fork.
That's really good.
So
If you guys
good.
try it out, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We've got more news still to come. Some weather as well. It's raining outside. Did you know that? Well,
Great day
we've
for
got-
baking cookies.
We've got all that covered. That'll be coming up in the second half of Carolina in the Morning. Stick with us.